This
uh,
conference will now be recorded.
the various components. Okay, so component is nothing but the part of the program, as I told you. There are two types of components: non-executable components and executable components. So when I'm talking about non-executable components are the components that do not contribute to the output. Means they are literally for giving some information. So they are literally for giving some information. So they are useful for making the program more readable. Okay, so more readable. So how we provide the non-executable comments in the program? In the program, we provide the non-executable comments, non-executable components with the help of comments. With the help of comments. So what are comments here? Comments are nothing but the non-executable codes. Okay, so comments are the non-executable codes which are given by the help of hash. Okay, so hash followed by the line of the comment. So hash followed by the line of the comment. So hash adding two numbers, hash assign means you are giving some information about the whole program or about a particular line. Okay, so you are giving the information about a particular program or a particular line. Okay, so that is what is a comment. So comments, as I've told you, can be made on any line. Okay, so on any line in the program. Okay, next going for the executable components. So what are the executable components? So executable components are the components that will be directly or indirectly used for contributing towards the output. Means they are responsible. Now here, anything other than comments. Okay, so anything other than comments can be called as a, so anything other than the comment can be called as a uh, executable component. Okay, now we'll have a list of executable components. So first we are going to talk about keywords. So what are keywords? So keywords are the words which are already in the program environment. Okay, so keywords are the words which are already in the program environment. So they are already in the program environment. Okay, so already in the program environment. So whenever I'm talking about the keywords, so what are keywords here? Keywords are the non-executable components. So executable components which are used for a particular purpose. Okay, so basically whenever you use that particular keyword, okay, so if you use that particular keyword, so there will be a exposure of its property or its functionality. Okay, so that is what a keyword is. Okay, so next we are talking about white spaces. So what are white spaces here? So white spaces are nothing but the spaces in the program. Okay, white spaces are nothing but the spaces in the program, so which we generally call it as indentation space. So whenever I'm saying indentation space means the space which is important. Okay, so space which is important in the structural programming. Okay, now for example, if I'm not having space here, so it is going to give me some kind of indentation error. Then we talked about literals. So what are literals here? Literals are nothing but the data parts of the program. So where we take up the first one, which is numeric literals. So under numeric literals, we had integers. So what are integers? Integers are nothing but the single valued numbers with a single part. Okay, so single valued numbers with a single part, which is known as the integer part. Okay, so then again we talk about float based values. So what are float based values here? The numbers with a decimal point. Okay, now 15.26, so is a decimal point number. Okay, so decimal point number. So then under that we have integer part, decimal point, and the fractional part. Okay, so these are the three things under the float. So then we talked about complex. So under the complex, we see that there is a real part as well as the imaginary part. So in today's session, we'll talk about some more literals. So we will talk about literals, complete literals today. So, so when we talk about the next type of literals, we call it as the second one, which is character-based literals. Character-based literals. So what are the character-based literals here? Okay, character-based literals means, so character means what? So character means a character is nothing but an element. A character is nothing but an element in. Okay, so character-based literals. A character is nothing but an element in the basic character set. In the basic character set. So what is the basic character set basically? So it is capital A to Z, capital A to Z, small a to Z, 0 to 9, and all the symbols. Okay, so all the symbols that you have. Okay, so this is called as the basic character set. Okay, now a single character. So we have a single character means, so single character means, so it is anything between A to Z, anything between A to Z, anything between 0 to 9, anything in this. Okay, so that is nothing but a character. Okay, so now in Python, the character based literals, the character based literals are, so in Python, the character based literals are one or more characters are a collection of one or more characters enclosed in enclosed in quotes. We have three types, sorry, I should say four types of quotes. So we have four types of quotes. First one, single quotes. Single quotes. So first one is going to be single quotes. So single quotes. So what is a single quote here? So a single quote is nothing but this symbol. In this we can have, okay, so single quotes means, so in this we can have one or more character. So in this we can have one or more character enclosed enclosed in single quotes. we cannot have we cannot have Okay, so basically in Python, the character based literals, uh, also known as also known as string literals. So they are also known as string literals. So that also we need to remember. They are also known as string literals. Okay. So they are also known as string literals, are a collection of one or more characters enclosed in quotes. So we have four types of quotes, single quotes. In this we have one or more character. Okay, so one or more characters enclosed in single quotes. So we cannot have a quote, single quote, or I should say, we cannot have the apostrophe. So we cannot have the apostrophe. We cannot have the apostrophe inside the string literal, inside this string literal, and we can have only. So we can have only. We cannot have the apostrophe inside the string literal, and we can have only a single line of string. A single line of string. Okay. So what is this first we need to write? So character. So single code character. So single quote means, so now here you can say H, it also is fine. And you can say happy Independence Day. So this also you can say. Okay, so and here tomorrow is August 15, our Independence Day. Okay, so we cannot have more than a single line. Single character is okay. Collection of characters is okay. So this is okay. This is okay. But if you run this, this will give you error saying unterminated string literal means it is expecting you to write everything in a single line. Everything in a single line. So for example, I want to write something like Harris. Okay, so I'm giving a quote here. Okay, so I'm giving a single quote here. So if I'm giving a single quote here, so generally what happens here? So generally you can see in the single quote what happens. So whenever you are giving single quote, so this will think that this is the end. So that is why it is not considering that yes. Okay. So that yes is not considered. So what we can say at the end of the day, we can say that so this is not allowed. Okay, so this is not allowed, and this is also not allowed. So in single line, okay, with a single character also is fine, but when you are going for multiple characters, you cannot have multiple lines, first point, and you cannot have apostrophe. You cannot have apostrophe. So these two are okay. These two are okay, so these are valid, and here I will write invalid. So invalid. So why they are invalid? Because they are invalid because so you cannot have the, so why they are invalid? So they are invalid because you cannot have apostrophe and you cannot maintain them in a multiple line. Okay, so in multiple line you cannot have it. Okay, so you cannot have it in multiple lines. Okay, so in this way you are going to have the things. Okay, so that's how, so we are trying to check out. Okay, so that's the way that we are going to look at it. Okay, so this is single quoted string. Okay, so first there are four types. In the four types we have first single quote, so where we cannot have, so where we cannot have the apostrophe and we cannot have multiple lines. Okay, okay. Second one, double quotes. Second one is double quotes. So whenever we are talking about double quotes, so when we are talking about double quotes, so double quotes means, or a double quoted string means where we have one or more characters enclosed in double quotes. Okay, enclosed in double quotes. So we can have apostrophe, but we cannot have double quotes inside the string. Okay. Now in this, we can have a string literal in double quotes. String literal in double quotes. So in this we can have a string literal in double quotes. Okay, so in this we can have a string literal in double quotes. So it will not allow multi-line multi-line. Okay, so it will not have multi-line string literal. It cannot have multi-line. Will not allow multi-line string literal, and it will not allow double quotes. It will not allow double quotes inside. Okay, so it will not allow double quotes inside the string literal. Inside the string literal. So it will not allow the double quotes inside the string literal. So double quotes means in this we can have a string literal in double quotes. It will not allow multi-line string literal, and it will not also allow double quotes inside the string literal. So in this way you can go for it. Okay, so this is double quotes for you. Okay, so whenever I'm talking about double quotes, now let us see what are valid and what are invalid. So this is valid. So this is valid, and this is also valid, and this also is valid. So this also is valid. Okay, so this is also valid. Okay, so if you are running this also, you will not get any error. So this is valid. Okay, right. So then now if you are giving double quotes here and ending with double quotes here, okay, so then if you run this, so this is also not valid. Okay, so and one more invalid is, okay, so here you can observe, right. So here you can observe, I can run this, and now what you can observe here, so you can see it is a syntax error. So why it is saying syntax error? It is saying syntax error because, so here you started, here you ended. Okay, so it will not consider this line. Okay, so then again you said here and you said here. So your intention was to give Happy Independence Day some highlight. Okay, but here as you observed, so we cannot have double quotes inside the double quotes. Okay, and we cannot have in multiple lines also. So that's the way that you go for the valid and invalid things under, so valid and invalid things under this double quotes. Okay, so that is what is double quotes for you. Then you have triple single quotes. Okay, so triple single quotes. So what are this triple single quotes here? So triple single quotes means the type of quotes wherein you can have multiple lines. Okay, so triple single quotes, you can have multiple lines, you can have apostrophe, you can have this. So but generally people will not have this. Okay, so people will not have this, right? So that is why we are using this to allow anything. So these string literals can hold, these string literals can hold, these string literals can hold the collection of characters, the collection of characters in multiple lines along with along with apostrophe as well as double quotes. Apostrophe as well as double quotes. Okay, so here you can have apostrophe also, double quotes also. Okay. The primary use of the triple single quotes the primary use of the triple single quotes is to provide the documentation so the primary use of the triple single quotes is to provide the documentation. So you need to provide the documentation. So the main purpose of these things is to okay, so these are going to be used for the documentation, is for providing the documentation. So whenever I'm saying documentation, so you are going for uh, the documentation on a particular code matter. Okay, so that is what the documentation. So we'll be using that later in our course. We'll be using the documentation and all. Okay, so now whenever I'm talking about triple single quotes, so how can we put them? We can put them. So now everything becomes legal. Okay, so everything becomes legal. So these are valid. So this is valid. So again, this is valid. Okay, this is also valid. Okay, and here if you see, this is also valid. And you can have single quote also, double quote also, and you can have sorry, so you can have anything. So everything is valid. So there is no way that we are going to have anything wrong. Okay, so all are valid. Okay, so valid. So this is also valid. Okay, so Harry is also valid, right? So this is also valid, and this also is valid. But the only thing here is, so you are taking slash n. So what is the slash n tell you? Slash n will tell you that this is next line. So what is slash n will tell you? So here slash n represents the next line. Slash n represents the next line. Okay. So in that way you are looking at the triple quotes. Okay. So it will be used in documentation. Later on we will understand that how we can use it in documentation and everything. So this is the way that you are going to work with it. Okay. Okay. Right. So next we are going for the final one, which is double quoted double quoted, or I should say triple double quotes. Triple double quotes. So when I'm talking about triple double quotes, so triple double quotes means, so they are similar to, they are similar to okay, so triple double quotes are similar to similar to the triple single quotes. So they are similar to the triple single quotes, but they are not. But they are not used for. So, but they are not used for documentation. They are not used for documentation. Okay. So they are similar to the triple single quote, but they are not used for documentation. Okay. So that is the point here. Now, so we will go back here. So here we will. So here if you run this, so they are all same. There is no difference between that and this, right? So all of them will get executed. Okay, all of them will get executed, and the final one, same thing. It will be the next line. It will be the next line, right? So, but the only difference is they are not used in the documentation. They are not used in the documentation. So these are triple double quotes. Okay, next we are going for, so the third style or the third literals are the Boolean literals. So when I'm talking about Boolean literals, so Boolean literals in Python, we have true and false considered as considered as Boolean literals. Considered as Boolean literals. Okay, so in Python we have true and false, which are going to be considered as Boolean literals. Okay, Boolean literals, which are considered as Boolean literals. So when I'm saying Boolean, Boolean is nothing but only two values. What are the two values? The two values are going to be the two values are going to be true and false. Okay, but don't keep them under the quotes. Okay, so note: do not put true and false under the quotes, under the quotes, as they become string literals. As they become string literals, they will become what? String literals. Do not put them true or false under the quotes. Uh, put them without any true or false. Okay, so without any true or false. Okay, so now, right, so simply you can say true here and false here. So true and false. So true and false. So in this way, you are looking at the true and false. So true and false. Okay, so only two values, true and false. Okay, so we'll be using them later. How we use it and all we will understand later. And finally, we will talk about non-literals. So what are non-literals? So non-literals means the type of literals. Okay, so non-literals are nothing but the type of literals, or I should say literal, not literals also. So a literal none, which means nothing. None means nothing. So which means nothing is considered as a non-literal. Considered as a non-literal. Okay, so literal none means which means nothing is considered as a non-literal. Okay, so it is considered as a non-literal. Okay, so how can I write that? So I can write none. So none means so you can see nothing. Okay, so you can see nothing. So that is why we are saying none means nothing. None means nothing. Now you might get a doubt. So where this is going to be used and all. So we will try and understand it later. So we have so many places where we can use this none value. Okay. So none means what I told you. So none means nothing. So we are going to use that value. Okay. So we are going to use that value whenever and wherever required. Okay, so there are a lot of uses of it, so we will talk about them later. Okay. Okay, so this is the end of the topic literals. So we will talk about the next topic in our next session because it will take more time. Okay, so 10 minutes won't be enough for that, so that is why we will have more detailed discussion in our next session. Okay, hopefully everyone understood the session. If anyone having any doubts, any questions, you can ask me. New topic will start afresh on Thursday. Oh, sorry, on Friday. So tomorrow we will not be having a class. So we'll be talking about a new topic on Friday. Okay. Right. Thank you.